A High Court judge has thrown out a case filed by former Prime Minister Edison James and journalist Lennox Linton against KAIRI FM, its proprietor Frankie Bellott, Senior Counsel Anthony Astafan, and Government Information Officer Mervyn Paul. Bellott says the court matter was not genuine, but strictly political.
And I always thought it was a waste of my time anyway, baseless case, because you can't tell me the same talk shows and the same calling and the same allegations they use on everybody else. Nobody else can say nothing about them. They sue. So basically, it was just a waste of everybody's time. You know, people know the nature of the politics in Dominica. They play it, we play it, and that's why I have the problem. They want to play the same game like everybody else and then want to be vexed when you throw it back on them. But all in all, everything turned out to the best for everybody. Everybody used media houses to run them out. That's it. Remember, this thing started on Q95, you know, not KAIRI. You understand? It's Matt and Tony that had the discussion about this thing. It was just repeated.
Well, Mr. Bellott says this is a great day for his company. His focus has changed over the past months.
But it's a great, I feel good. I mean, I always knew it was, like I said, I always knew it was a waste of time. And we all Dominicans know that everybody is politics, every man playing. And that's why you see Showman right now and a down low trying to focus on, you know, pay my bills. Basically, that's why it is, because I realize that type of politics are going on in Dominica, not taking anybody anywhere. It's just that it's making good people turn bad and people turn against each other unnecessarily and getting enemies, unnecessary enemies. So, I will exercise my right to vote or support any party I want. But getting involved in this name calling and so-called politicking and arguing and accusing, and I don't have time for that really. Right now, it's all about, you know, paying the bill.
And as proprietor of KAIRI FM, Frankie Bellott. Chairperson of the Dominica Community Tourism Association Task Force, Gil's Cabin, says stakeholders in the sector should look at failures as the pathways to success. She says created with all the good intentions, community-based tourism projects are abandoned for some reasons or another. Cabin was at the time addressing the official launching of the Dominica Community Tourism Association.
Created with all the good intentions, community-based tourism projects are abandoned when political pressures arise, jealousies intensify, the heralded ecotourists do not arrive, or when donor funding ends. Development agencies have until recently been ill-equipped with the development or promotion of community tourism initiatives. Sometimes, too often, marketing experts advise the community to raise their prices to rates that tourists just do not want to pay. Information is crucial, as many of the community projects lack a simple presence in the local tourist office, much less for on the international market. The market is dynamic, and so information sometimes provided is outdated, and so packages and prices should be kept current and always available. Successful community-based tourism succeeds when it achieves mutual benefits for locals and travelers. The Ministry of Tourism and Legal Affairs has been implementing this program for the past 2 years, targeting €1 million at rural tourism development in terms of infrastructural project development, human resource management, and marketing.
And as chairperson of the Dominica Community Tourism Association Task Force, Gil's Cabin, meantime chairman of the Grand Bay Village Council, Willie Favre, says the new initiative will make it easier for stakeholders to address their problems.
So when all the community tourism organizations around the island come together as an association, I think they'll be better placed to advocate for the things that are critical to their existence. Different stakeholders in the tourism industry have different needs and different challenges, and though the challenges that may face the community tourism groups may be unique to them, and therefore they need to be addressed in a particular way. And I believe the formation of this association is very instrumental in having those challenges addressed. As a council, we've been liaising with with GTEC. As a matter of fact, some of the chairs that you're sitting on belong to the village council, and they're not going to be charged for their use. But I think GTEC has been trying its best to maintain this place, but the thing about it is the kind of resource that we have here is quite different from what, for example, Mero has. Mero has a beach, and so tourists will come and sit on the beach and enjoy themselves. What we have here is basically history and culture, and so we have to use a different approach. GTEC cannot bring chairs on the stone beach and tourists will come and sit there. GTEC has to find a way to bring to the visitors the history and culture of Grand Bay.
Chairperson of the Grand Bay Village Council, Willie Favre. In mornings tonight, President of the Dominica Hotel and Tourism Association, Simon Walsh, says statements that the deadly unrest in Jamaica is affecting tourism in the Caribbean does not apply to Dominica. St. Lucia's Tourism Minister Alan Shostney says tourists view the Caribbean as a group of countries that are connected, and there are some people that are unable to differentiate one island from another. He says the Jamaica situation underscores the need for regional Tourism Marketing Development Fund. However, the DHTA president says the Jamaica situation does not pose any threat on Dominica's tourism industry.
I would certainly expect Jamaica itself to be heavily affected, and then I think it's going to have a really serious impact on their tourism for quite a while. And maybe some of the mass tourism destinations where people are really just looking to go to the Caribbean for sun and sand. But I think the typical eco-tourist and type of traveler that comes to Dominica would be somebody who would be aware that Jamaica is a long, long way from Dominica, and the problems in Jamaica is any cause for concern here in Dominica. So I would be very surprised at the effect. I would say that if Mr. Alan Chastney says the Caribbean is having a problem, then yeah, the mass tourism sector might be, but not Dominica.
And as the president of the Dominica Hotel and Tourism Association, Simon Walsh, meantime hotelier Judith Pestina shares a different view. She says the unrest in Jamaica could have effects on Dominica's tourism industry. She says there is a greater need for the establishment of a regional tourism marketing development fund for the region.
Well, simply, what happens in Jamaica will affect us because, as he said, people cannot make the distinction between Jamaica. There's a lot of people think once you talk about Jamaica, you talk about the Caribbean. Some people don't even know the difference between Dominica and the Dominican Republic. So I think this need for a marketing fund is even more critical. And I know there had been talk or agreement by the ministers of tourism to establish this marketing fund for the region. So it makes it even more urgent for us to have this regional marketing fund operational, because now more than ever we have to have an aggressive marketing campaign for the destinations in the Caribbean. So that is something which should be put on the front burner and acted on as quickly as possible so that we can reduce that kind of impact, negative impact we have on Caribbean tourism, which has arisen because of the Jamaican situation.
And that's hotelier Judith Pestina. Ministers of Culture of the Bolivarian Alternative for the Americas, ALBA, will meet in Dominica to discuss the ALBA sector plans and activities. The meeting, which will take place on 15th to the 17th of June at the Fort Young Hotel, will be represented by Dominica's Minister for Culture, Justina Charles. Dominica's National Coordinator for ALBA, Ambassador to Venezuela, Dr. Philbert Aaron, says the ALBA Ministers of Culture meeting is a great opportunity for Dominica to advance understanding of its cultural industry.
This is a great opportunity for Minister Charles to lead Dominica's cultural industries by way of ALBA. This also ties in with the launch of ALBA cultural activities, specifically competitions in the areas of film and literature, printing, and other areas. So it marks the start of ALBA's going into the cultural industries in a way that enhances Dominica and ALBA's development plans. So this is a great rollout of cultural activities in Dominica, as well as Dominica hosting ALBA activities as a full and active partner.
And as Dominica's National Coordinator for ALBA, Ambassador to Venezuela, Dr. Philbert Aaron.